Some people do, indeed, refuse to believe in religion. They disbelieve because they do not know the reality of God and of the next world. But, however strongly they deny spiritual reality, it is the nature of man to accept and to believe that which is proven in a scientific way. It is also the inherent nature of man to feel empty, void, and uneasy with himself if he has set his ultimate purpose of life in the external world of everyday things. When one comes to know God through the new truth, he learns about spiritual reality and comes to realize that the fundamental purpose of life is to be found not in the external world of matter, but in the internal world of spirit. Everyone treading this way will meet one day as brothers and sisters. If all men will thus meet as brothers and sisters at one destination through this one truth, what would the world founded on this basis be like? It would be a world in which all men form one big family under God. The purpose of truth is to pursue and to achieve goodness, and the origin of goodness is God himself. Therefore, the world attained through this truth would be one in which all men would live together in wonderful brotherly love, under God as our parent. When man realizes that if he makes his neighbor a victim for his own benefit, he suffers more from the pangs of conscience than he profits from unrighteous gain, he will find it impossible to harm his neighbor. Therefore, when real brotherly love arises from the bottom of man's heart, he cannot do anything to cause his neighbor to suffer. How much more would this be true of men who live in a society in which they experience the actual feeling that God is their own parent, transcendent of time and space, who watches their every action, and that this parent wants us to love one another every moment. The new world, which will be established by the new truth, will usher in a new age when the sinful history of mankind has been liquidated. It must be a world in which no sin is possible. So far in human history, even those who have believed in God have committed sins. Their faith in God has taken the form of a concept rather than the form of living experience. If man could feel the presence of God and know the heavenly law that sinners are sent to hell, who then would dare to commit sins? The world without sin could be called the kingdom of heaven, the world which fallen man has long pursued. Since this world be established as a reality on earth, it may well be called the kingdom of God on earth. Thus we can conclude that the ultimate purpose of God's providence of salvation is to establish the kingdom of God on earth. It was already made plain in previous discussion that man fell from grace, and that the human fall came after the creation of man. From the standpoint of the reality of God, the answer to the question of which world God originally intended at the creation becomes evident. We can say at this point, however, this world is the kingdom of God on earth in which God's purpose of creation is realized. Because of the fall, however, mankind has not been able to realize this world. Instead, man has brought about a world of sin and has fallen into ignorance. Therefore, fallen man has struggled unceasingly to restore the kingdom of God on earth, which God originally intended. He has done this by seeking to overcome internal and external ignorance and pursuing ultimate goodness through all the periods of human history. The history of mankind, therefore, is a history of the providence of God, through which God intends to restore the world in which his purpose of creation is fulfilled. To restore fallen man back to his originally intended state, the new truth should be able to reveal to him his ultimate destiny in the course of restoration by teaching him the original purpose for which God created man and the universe. Many questions must be answered by this truth.